So you want to animate the pony. You might be in the My Pony tab. You will need to switch to the Items tab. This is where you will find all the animation controllers. Please make sure the Property tabs is always open. You will find a lot of very useful controllers in there. So second thing you might want to look at is if you open your scene and these lines all get selected at the same time, and they are generally black and turn orange when selected, it means you are not in pose mode, you are in object mode. You cannot animate in this mode. What you will want to do is go into pose mode. Now, there is a shortcut that I use fairly often. It's once you select the controller, you press Control Tab. This will smart switch between object and pose mode. If you need more advanced animation knowledge, please look at another tutorial. This is only me explaining to users that already know how to animate, how to use this specific rig. Also, we might want to probably switch to animation, the animation tab. It's going to be more useful. The left view is usually for where the camera will go, but this is only a tutorial, so I will not acknowledge it for now. So this is the aim for the head. This is the rotation for the head. Mind you, there is a toggle under property called head follow, which decides whether or not your head will follow this controller. This is when you want to animate the head directly and you don't want it to always aim towards this point. But even when it is aiming towards this point, you can still bank it from side to side. Now you have the wing control. To see the wings, you have to go in feather colors, toggle wings. So let's say you have wings. Now you can see them. So in the wing controller, if you toggle the wing controls, you will see a bunch of scary looking bones. Most of the time you don't need them, but this is when you want to animate the wings directly. This will probably be subject to some cleanup in the future. For now, everything is exposed and you might not be able to animate most of the feathers. So yeah, sorry about that. Then again, this series is temporary because the rig is subject to change, the pony is subject to changes. So I'm really sorry about that. Next up, you have the neck. Naturally, if the head is following the head aim control, it will do this kind of motion. If you want, you can turn it off. You have the chest. Might be a bit hard to see. Comment in on the video if you want me to change or if you have ideas, or join the Discord server. This is an open discussion. Everything is subject to change and improvements. I'm open to suggestions. So yes, you have the chest. Then you have the spine. There's a second base of the spine controller here inside the large circle. There's the pelvis, which is what you will use most of the time if you have the character moving around, shifting their weight. Then you have this ball that is just an easier way, in my opinion, to visualize where the inverse pelvis would be. Let me turn off the wings because they might be a bit distracting. You have the tail control. Mind you, the tail, the geometry tail is not fully rigged yet. This will date this video. And the hair tail has some rigging, but as you can see, it's not that pretty. This will be subject to improvements. Then you have the clavicles, the shoulders. You have the handball. This name is a holdover of how you would rig a biped. I don't know what to call it else, but if you look, it's some sort of reverse control for the leg. This will become more useful. If you start using the rig, you will see what it's used for. It's really important. This is a bit less obvious unless I turn on the wireframe. This is in case your leg does some weird rotation. It's to counter the weird rotations. This is more useful when you start animating the pony to act like a biped. I can demonstrate it. Let's say the character is holding a phone or something. Actually, this is pretty nice, I find. But yeah, you will see this kind of like weird twisting. You can ease it yourself if you want. Yeah, it's for specific cases like these, right? If you want to reset everything, Alt R, Alt G. This is basic Blender knowledge. Next, you have this controller that is made specifically just to rotate the tip. And okay, so this one is how you move the hoof. You can see how it moves this entire area, the front part as one block. This is intentional. This is a bit how I think this is an easier way to animate horses and specifically in quadrupeds in general. And yes, the legs are made to be able to fold either way because these are not realistic horses, they are cartoon ponies, and they need to be able to perform and act human range of motions that will not be possible with regular animals. And on the hoof itself, if I come back to the items tab, you will find a bunch of settings that you might not be familiar with what they would do. You have the bank, which allows you, if I go in front, to bank from side to side. You have the heel. I need to low if you generally if you lower because there's a limit to how much the leg can stretch. So if you lower the body, you will see a bit better what this does. So it rotates from the quote unquote heel of the hoof. This can be useful. You don't always want to use that, but this in general is pretty useful. Also, you have the tip that does the reverse. You have IK. If you know about rigs, this is IK, inverse kinematics. It means that you move the tip and the chain of bones will adapt to follow where this bone is. If you turn off the IK, suddenly you see a bunch of controllers appear. These are the forward kinematic controllers, the FK controller instead of IK for inverse kinematic. Now you can see it does not follow this point anymore because you need to animate them yourself, each bone. So this can be useful, for example, if you have a scene where a character is flailing their arms and you just want, something like that. I don't know. It's very case by case. I rarely use it. So these are the FK controllers, and they only appear when you turn off the IK. And then this one's a bit interesting. So if you pull the IK too far, you see the leg still retain its original length. This is normal, this is intended. If you want the limbs to stretch, you need to turn on the stretch setting. And, well, you can tell what it's doing. This is still incomplete. In the future, there will be individual controllers to control the curve. If you want some wiggles, gummy limbs, you'll be able to do it. For now, this is the extent of how much it can do. Now, these controls are identical for the hind hooves and also, left to right, they're the same controls. So control like this, you have that. You have the banking from side to side. You have the heel, which you have the heel. You have the tip. You have, the ball control. Actually, let me demonstrate why you would want all those controllers, right? So you have the tip, and now this is a weird shape. So if you rotate like this, suddenly it looks a bit more natural, right? So that's why everything is there. IK, if you turn off, you have, individual controls and stretch. Also, if you know how IK works, so let's say you lift the hoof and you have this controller over there that this elbow is aiming towards. So if you move it, actually, let me go like this. It's going to be easier to demonstrate. So this is like a direct way to control where your elbow should be aiming. This is called the pull vector. And in front, I know it's counterintuitive that the front hooves are aiming at the back and the hind hooves are aiming towards the front, but this is just how it is. So yeah, naturally, this is where this is. We are going to get into the face toggle. So this nice little icon has a bunch of properties that you can use to reveal face controllers. Now, if you activate cheeks, I think I talked about it before, you can animate some jiggle or puff the cheek if they're pouty. Ears will give you animation of the ears. If you want them to be sad or something, you can. And remember, Alt-R, Alt-G to reset the position. That's how I do it. Hair, this one will be subject to changing because in the future there will be a new hair preset with different shapes, so this will become irrelevant. But for now, you have, this beautifully well-rigged hair. Yeah, it's not ideal. I mostly use it to jiggle the hair or like create some very small secondary motion. Or if the character suddenly has the hair going through, you just move it out of the way. Horn. You can probably guess what that is if you toggle the horn. And actually, if I turn off the hair, you will see better. I know, bald pony. Now, you might ask yourself, the horn can't move. Why would you animate that? Um, I can't open this scene right now because it's severely outdated, but during the original promo animation, I actually had to move the horn for composition purposes and also to, for example, your camera's here and you want just the horn peaking, moving around, you can do that. So it's always good to have. Also, if your character has a hat, you can just, fold the horn in or scale it. It's always good to have a controller for big things that stick out like that. Then you have the eyebrows. I think I talked about it before. So you move the eyebrows with the yellow controller to move the general area. The red controller will slide the eyebrow without affecting the skin. This can be useful for cartoon expressions that are a bit too exaggerate to naturally pull on the vertices too hard. This logic is propagated to all face controllers. Yellow and light green controller affect large areas. Red controllers affect smaller areas. The eyelids. Uh, I will probably update the colors because this might not be easy to see, but you have the arrow that points down. If you translate it up and down, you will close and open the lid. And this one is hard to see, but it points up. Then you have a bunch of individual controllers. The red ones control small areas. The green ones control larger areas and even influence other nearby bones. The eyes, similar to the head, you have this large yellow circle that animates the eyes by making them look at this controller. So if there's something on the floor, you put the controller there and your character is always going to be looking at it. You also have individual eye controls inside this. If you want the eyes to not follow this, you need to select the big yellow controller and turn off the eye follow, and now they will not follow anymore. And you can rotate them yourself like a normal sphere. Now, if you rotate the head, you will see the eyes controller will follow. If you turn off the head parent, you'll see that it does not follow. This is useful if you want to look at a fixed point without the point moving with the head. Then you have a star shape. This still needs to be fixed, but it, in theory, will move. It will scale. So if you scale the star shape, it will scale the pupil, but I messed up and it's not scaling the iris. This will be fixed in the next update. Sorry about that. Then you have the lips control. Same logic as before. Yellow moves a large area. Red moves a small area. You know, if they're mad, that's how it works. Again, might be very difficult to see. Let me turn off the colors. That might be why. Yeah, no, it's very hard to see, but there's this curled arrow. If you rotate it, you activate the lip pout. If I turn on the color, it's going to become a lot more obvious what this is. And I turn off this. So you can do a duck face. There's the bottom curl. I know this looks incredibly cursed, but it's useful. Trust me, there's some mouth positions that need the lips to curl like that. So those are the lips. Then the mouth. Okay, so the mouth has this big square. If you rotate X, it opens the mouth. And if, you know, and you can move it in whatever way you want, but I don't know why you would. But yeah, you can. Then you have the lip shaped control that has all the phonemes inside. The way the pony animates phonemes, you have to open the mouth individually and you can open it more or less. And then you have an A shape. If they say A, or this can take into account other vowels. So this goes more into animation theory, so it's up to you to look into that. But this is the A, the E, I know they look similar, but they're different, trust me. H, this one is an H. M, it's like a lip smack. It's like if you want to say an M vowel. O, U, this one I called Whoa. You'll see why. It's like an O, but with the corners pinched together. Also looks like a pog face. This is why I said the lip curl might be useful if you want to do a fun little pog face, right? And you have Woo, which is just a more oval whoa. And the smile, which is usable regardless of the position. I'm really proud of how it came out. I admit there's still some work to do. There's different, I still have to improve, or maybe if a contributor wants to get on it, we still have to improve the face controllers, but I'm pretty satisfied that a lot of the range of motion we can achieve with very little. So this should cover everything there is to know about the rig for animation. Then again, if you want to know how to animate, you should look into tutorials about actions, curves, the NLA strips, things like that, because this is too broad a topic to cover in this video. One thing that you might want to know if you understand Blender rigs a bit more, these are the controllers for animation, and in the layers, you can see this is the first layer, and there's two layers at the end. This is more for people trying to debug, customize, or understand the rig. The layer before the last, these are utility bones that are hidden because you do not need to see them normally. These bones only serve the rig for a bunch of purposes that are very difficult to explain succinctly. So if you have questions, please ask me directly on the Discord. And the last layer, this one will be useful for people looking to export the model without the rig. For example, if you want to export the pony to a game engine, SFM, or anything like that. The last layer, these are the binding bones. These bones follow the rig, and these bones are the ones responsible for moving the skin. Technically, you can delete all the controllers, and these bones will still exist regardless of what drives them. So for advanced user, this is the rig. These are the bones you will export to a game engine because you can't use these and these in a game engine. These already have weights, so actually it's a bit difficult to demonstrate because everything is constrained if you know a bit about rigging. These bones are constrained to the control rig, but this is these are the bones you would export with the individual weights that control all the skin and everything. So hopefully this was not too messy. I admit my videos are a bit improvised. I don't write a script for those. I only go through what I feel is necessary. If you have more questions, feel free to follow me on Twitter or go on the Discord, join the Discord to discuss, ask questions, report bugs. Will be able to answer your questions there. So thank you for watching.